Continuity. All right, so what is the continuity principle? A newly elected president's course of action is usually associated with the previous president's course of action. This is known as the continuity principle. Okay, so continuation. All right, that's where this word continuity um, arrives, or originates from. Continuity principle. All right, so I'm going to give you two examples here. Right, the first one is how presidents kind of win votation by contradicting course of actions of previous presidents, and then they kind of contradict themselves in the future once they're in office, right? um, President Obama, one way that he gained a certain amount of percentage is promising the public that, hey, we're going to pull out all of our troops from the Middle East, you know talking directly about Afghanistan and Iraq. Once he got into office, he realized, the factors why they were placed there in the first place, right? Because, society was, the Middle Eastern society was in desperate need of enforcement of the law, all right, and which these weak states could not provide because they're full of corruption and poorly educated civilians, right? So President Obama did pull out these troops, right? But then he kind of sent them back in. All right, so that's kind of like the continuity principle, right? He picked up the course of action, right, associated with the previous president's course of action, right? Even though he kind of promised that he would kind of do the opposite. It happens a lot, you know. Believe it or not, when there's a newly elected president, they're always walking into situations left by the previous presidents, whether they're good or bad. All right. Now we have here projects that are started between presidencies or between terms. All right. You can have one president, right, start off a fund. It can be a healthcare fund. It can be a stimulus package, right? And it won't be ready until another 10 years. By the time that 10-year period arrives, there's a new elected president. All right? So I'm going to give you an example here. So when President Clinton, back in the 1990s, during his presidency, he decided to, engage in cutbacks. We'll call them, like, hey, this doesn't need so much funding. Hey, this doesn't need this has, or is being overfunded. This needs more funding. So he kind of like, he changed the budget game. All right, the budgeting. This, you know, plan was kind of sketched out from the previous president, which that president was known as Bush 41 because he's the 41st president, and then you have Bush 43 because he was the 43rd president. All right, so that's also known as a continuity principle. All right.